Okay, so I'm not sure if anyone did last week's homework, but if you did it, you can share out. Like if you want to share your screen, that's also fine. But if you just want to maybe type your idea or say something about your idea, you can also do that. So, does anyone want to like share out? Yep. So that's last week. And this week we're going to learn about how to make a tycoon. So if anyone like wants to make a tycoon game, they can try following today's lesson, you know. So first let's look at if anyone wants to share out their ideas or showcase. So I see that Colin wrote he created a spaceship, so that's pretty cool. Um, do you want to like tell me more about your spaceship game? Like how do you play your game? And is it like racing or is it like do you fight each other? Do you want to like tell me more about that? Anyone else who okay, I'm Ethan anyone else who thought about last week's homework? Want to like type something or say something? All right.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
I was thinking about like a prison escape map, like perhaps like there it would be almost like infinity because it's like a giant almost maze and it's a prison. You have to get to know and get pieces of information from prisoners to know the schedule of the prison and escape. If you
Oh,
escape while you're able to be rewarded, then you will get a next level, an even harder prison. You'd be like, the police caught you again. You're sent to a better prison.
okay. I really like the idea. Like maybe like a prison escape game with like different maps. Is that what you're like talking about? I think that would be like really cool. And yeah, you can definitely do that map. So right now I would say try to focus on like your maps. So maybe you can make it with some parts or you can find some templates online, but you can make them with like parts we used before in Roblox Studio. You can like move them around and make it into like a maze. And then you can put a prison like inside the maze if you want. Or if you want the prison itself to be a maze, that's also fine. And yeah, you can also make like different versions for like players who want like harder gameplay, right? Yeah, I think that's really cool. Okay. So did anyone else do their homework? I'm not sure if everyone is here last class. So if you're not here last class, then basically last class we thought about our game idea, and in this class you can make your own game. So if you have any ideas that you want to like any ideas that you have about a game, you can write it down or try to think about it. So then today, if you want to do like a tycoon game, you can just follow what we're doing today. All right. So okay. All right. I guess if there's no more ideas to share out, we'll start our content today. And today we're going to make a tycoon game. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to send a file inside the chat and then you can download it. So then you can play the tycoon game. You could also find a tycoon in the you can also make the tycoon game inside by yourself, but basically right now you guys can just use a template, okay? So I'll send the file in the chat first. All right, so it's loading. It should be uploaded now. So open the chat for Zoom. right? Open the chat. It's like the like speech bubble thing. You can click it, and then you should see a file called Tycoon Game Class 8. Okay. Download the file and open it inside Roblox Studio. You should see a building like this with a spawn location here and with like a rock base plate. Don't you can play it right now, but you can also wait a bit, try to look at the scripts and look at what the model is. Okay, and then we can play it together very soon. Okay. So just download the file. Colin wrote created 3 different spaceships. And we can use guns, shoot down other spaceship in your spaceship. Okay, so it's like action and strategy game. I like that. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I think that works. Maybe you can have like the spaceships fly around as well, but I think that would be pretty difficult to make if you want them to like fly around, you know. If you just want them to like move around like in straight lines, like or just in a 2D, then it will be easier, like a car. But if you want them to be going up and down and like different directions, that's actually really hard to do because you basically have to like code a plane, you know, and maybe you can find a model online, but it's going to be pretty difficult. Okay, I see that Justin just joined, so Justin, can you hear me? I'll send another file. I'll send a file for this lesson into the chat, okay? I'll just send another version. Okay. All right, so please download it and you should be able to see this picture. I will open it myself as well. I'm just going to click on it and it should open here, right? All right. You should also see like a village. If you don't, that's fine. It's just for like a game object. So there should be like some villages here as well. Okay. Okay, if everyone has opened it, I'll just test out the game very quick. All right, so let me just explain to you what a tycoon is, okay? A tycoon is a type of Roblox game. It's also
你这个太大声，我这
also
个关小
used.
声，我这个没有，我这个可以关掉。
Can someone unmute, please? So I'm just
Six.
gonna unmute. Okay. So what is a tycoon game? First, a tycoon was like a bug. So first, basically in a tycoon, you can step on different circles to build something and get weapons. Like for example, in here, you can see like different red circles. And when you step on the red circle, you buy something, which helps build your base, right? And this is already something made, like you don't have to make it yourself. You can just like use it. It's called like a kit or a template for the tycoon. And it's actually a template called like Naruto. So if you look like anime, you should know like what Naruto is. So first you step on the circles to build your base and get like different weapons, you know. You can also like basically after you step on the circles, like for example, these ones, then they actually produce cash, right? If you step on these, then they have this dropper thing. It gives you like cash, which enters this red like block. After it enters red block, it will give you money and it will show around here, like here in this small cash collecting machine here. When you step on this green thing, then you can collect the money that is shown here, right? So yeah, let's try the game. And then, yeah, one last point. It doesn't really save your progress. So if you quit the game, then you really have to start over, which I think has good things and bad things. Like, I think good thing is like if you're playing with your friend or if you want a fair game for everyone, then when you're not saving your progress, you can have everyone like on the same line, or you don't want one player to be too much better than another player, right? But another thing is like if you don't save your progress, it kind of gets boring because you have to do the same thing every time to start the game. And if you like can only play for like a small amount of time, then you can't really go to become like really, really good, right? So that's the bad thing about not saving your progress. Okay, let's try the game first. So you just have to click on the blue triangle. Did everyone open the file? Is everyone like stuck or anything? No? Okay, if you can't really open the file, just type in the chat or something. Or if you can't open Roblox Studio, try reopening, or you can like re-download it. So I think re-downloading it will be like a solution to most problems. So let's just try playing the game now. You just have to press the blue triangle here. So I'm just gonna click it. All right, so as I said, it's basically first you see on top, this is called leaderboard. On top, you can see this, which is my username. And there's two things, right? There's like Naruto and there's for hire, right? And you can also see three different stats, which is kills, deaths, and cash, right? So they represent how many players you defeated, how many times you died, and how much money or how much cash you have. So right now I'm in the for hire group because I didn't choose a base yet, right? If I want to start working on this base, I have to first claim the base. So I must first tell the game that this base is mine, right? So I just go here and I touch the base, and you see here now it's now my username's Tycoon. So this Tycoon is now mine. So first thing, you can see how like there's no money here, right? That's because I didn't have my machine working. So I'll begin working with my machine, and it should drop something yellow, which will go along this conveyor belt, and it will disappear in the red block here, right? All right. So you can now try playing it on your own, and I want you guys to think about a few things. So first, do you think the game is fun? Second, what players do you think the game is for? And finally, what you can do to improve the game or improve some bugs in the game, okay? So do you like the game? What do you think players it's for? And finally, can you like make the game better? Okay. So try to think about that when you're playing. All right, now you see I earn like over 500 cash. So I'm just going by stepping on the green thing. And you can see on top here that I have received 530 cash. And with that money, I can buy this another dropper. So now I have two, which are both working money, right? So this one's 300. I'm also going to buy it. All right. So now I have three different droppers working, and they're all producing money. So when you have more of these machines, then your cash will rise quicker. So you earn money faster. And now you see I can buy a super dropper, which is also going to produce the yellow neon squares, right? So So now you see how this one requires $2,000, but in the same time, you can also buy some walls, which is only $100. So I'm just gonna buy the wall form base. You can see the walls start to form, right? So I'll collect a bit more cash. And now I can buy the power core dropper. So I'm just gonna buy that right now. Okay, I'll play for a bit more. You guys can play as well. Just try to think about the game while you're playing. All right. I'm going to wait a bit more to get 5,000. Right now I have around 3,400. So when it says 3.4K, 1K is 1,000, right? So if you have 3.4K, you have 3,000 plus $100. All right, so I think that's enough to get 5,000. I'm going to buy one more dropper. Okay. All right, so I think you guys get the idea. I'm going to upgrade the walls a bit more and then we can discuss. So yeah, there's many things you can buy, even like a super jump. So let me just collect this. So let's see what the super jump does. All right, I think it's like lead boots. I'm not sure the items work, which is a bit unfortunate. I didn't really get the item. Let me see if they give me the item. Yeah, I don't think the items really work in this. I'm not sure why. Maybe I can check like let me try checking the output to see if there's any errors. All right, so it's basically telling me that the weapons are no. Okay. Okay. All right, I think the items are missing, so that's why we couldn't really buy it. Which is so you couldn't really get the item because it doesn't really exist. Like they didn't put the functions for the item, so you can't really use it. All right, so I think that's it for the demo for me. And yeah, you can see how like to start, I only had like one floor, right? If you play more and you play for a long time, you can build more floors and then you should be able to finish the whole base, right? So maybe you can play for like half an hour, you should be able to get the whole thing with all like the different like items here. You can see like more conveyor belts and more items here, right? Okay. Okay, so I'll give you guys maybe one more minute to play, and meanwhile, if you already played, let's brainstorm, okay? So look at these questions. First, why is the game fun? And does it have any game characters? I know that when I play, there wasn't any characters, but actually there is one character here called Naruto, and you can see him after you unlock the second floor. So there is one game character. It's related to anime. So third, do you see any game models? So do you see any like physical parts or things that you can touch or like bump with physically? Also, do you see any gameplay? So what kind of gameplay is there? Like, do you walk around? Do you jump around? Do you like use weapons? So try to brainstorm this first. So if you want to do like a tycoon game, you can add these into your own game as well. Okay. All right, so if you let me say 1 more minute. Okay. All right, so you can stop playing the game now and come back to the slides. Let's look at the different questions, okay? So first one, why do you think the game is fun or not fun in your opinion? So anyone has any ideas, you can type it out in the chat or you can unmute and talk about it. Oops, sorry, I just accidentally pressed something. All right. I think, yeah. All right, anyone has any ideas or no? You can type it in chat. I'll give you guys an example, okay? So I think the game is fun first because like I would say it's fun because you actually have something to work for. So it's like the currency, right? So like the coin, the cash, you use your cash to buy more things, and with the things you have, you can produce cash. So I think it makes players have like a sense of achievement when they buy the different things and when they look at their base grow bigger. I think it's also pretty addicting because the player can like, grow their base, become better, have more weapons, and they would be willing to spend the time to collect the cash and buy the different things, right? So that's what I think the game is, why it's fun. And why it's not fun, I would say definitely first, like, even though it's fun to create your base at first, right? But one thing bad about it is if you played it for like, I don't know, like more than 5 or 6 times, you get really bored because you're just playing the same thing um every time, right? Like when you touch the base, you have to buy the same thing every time, and I played it for around 2 or 3 times and now I'm getting like pretty bored, right? It will make the player feel not interested and they will likely play the game less. So even though it might be fun for the first time, you also have to consider or think about if the players will keep coming back to the game, right? So let's say you want to make a tycoon game. Instead of making like one base, maybe try different base, or you can try like different game modes. So do you get cash faster? Do you get cash slower? Or maybe even different maps or different weathers, right? So you can think about that as well. Instead of just making like a few different base and the same thing every time, because that would be way too boring and repetitive for the different. Okay, so that's what I think is not fun about the game. It's that it's always repeating, so it's repetitive, right? And game characters, yeah, you can see one character here, and if you play the game for a long time, you can actually be this character by stepping on by Naruto for 15K. And I would say that's one character, but you can make it better by making more characters. And I'll try to teach you guys like in maybe like settings and things how to like change different teams. So currency, yeah, I'm not sure it's in here, but let me see if you can like create different teams as well. All right, so that's the different game characters. Can you spot any game models in the game in the Tycoon? Anyone can tell me an example of like a model or like game parts? There's actually a lot of different parts, so there should be a lot to say. Anyone got ideas? Okay. So some examples would be like maybe you can see basically everything is you can see is like a game part, right? And there are a lot of models in here. So if you want to make everything from scratch, it will be really difficult. So I would recommend you to use like a template like this Tycoon Kit, right? You can see like it's pretty well made and there are many parts. Like every single one of these, you have to make yourself. And all the different walls and texture and stuff, you have to make yourself as well. So it's actually pretty tiring. Yes, Colin wrote, I think it will be more fun if there are many other players. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. The Tycoon game is meant to have different players, right? Because then you can fight each other with different weapons. But right now these weapons doesn't really work. Try to find a way maybe today to make it work. I think I know why. There's something wrong with like the where the weapon is. So I'll help you guys figure that out. And yeah, to make it more fun, you can definitely have more players. So instead of making like one model, you can actually create more models by using like the duplicate, right? So if you remember from previous classes, we use duplicate in home and it's on the left to if you press it and move the model with like the move button, you can easily create more models and you can rotate by just clicking rotate. You can create many different tycoons templates and then you can like have different players join, right? So you can just duplicate. Okay. Yeah. So of course, one way to make it more fun is to have more players in your game. And if you have friends as well, you can play with them, which, yeah, will be more fun. Okay, so step 2, decorate. Decorate. There's many things you can do, like adding some trees, rocks, adding a different sky maybe, and creating different lighting. So actually, I'll just demonstrate how you can add more things in your game. Pretty simple. You just have to go to the toolbox and search for different items. So it's a bit slow for me in the toolbox, but you guys can try searching on your own. But basically, I'll just search like tree. Okay, Cairo, I bought everything I can buy. That's nice. So yeah, after you bought everything, there's really not more to the game. So I think that's also something that the game is not good at. It's like there's like a maximum things you can purchase. And if you are a very good player, after you buy everything, there's no more room for you to improve. You can build your base bigger, and it does make the players less interested. So that's another bad thing about Tycoons is that it has a limit in how big your base is going to be. And it's also going to be the same base for everyone every time, right? Which is not that fun. All right, so first thing I can improve is I would say like making the ground to something cooler, like not this concrete will be better. So actually I'll just go to the base plate. So remember the Explorer and properties we talked about? You can open them in view. So if you go to view and on the left, you can see two different things, Explorer and properties. You just open that by clicking. And now you should be able to see the base plate here. You just have to change like the color to something else, and to make it more interesting, I'll make it into like a grass color. And you can also change the material to grass. So it's gonna take a bit, but like a grass texture, which instantly made the game look like a bit better, right? So this is a grass. And actually now I'll put in some trees. So in the toolbox, you can see like pine tree, one more pine tree here. I kind of like this one. So I'm just going to drag it in. And it's going to take a bit of time for it to insert. I'm not sure why it didn't add. I'll just click one more time. Okay, so you can see the pine tree here. And remember, if you want to move it, you can just like click and drag, right? So you can drag around like this. And you can see I made a pine tree. Okay, so let me see if you can have any plugins. All right, so tree generator. Let me see if they have the brush tool, which is actually really helpful for making maps. All right, maybe they don't. So I'm gonna search brush. Okay, they don't have the plugin. All right, so if you don't know plugin is something you can add to your game to make things a bit easier, right? So let's see, we have the part 2 terrain plugin, okay? So I'm not sure what this one is, but we can try installing it. So to install it, first you go to toolbox, right? And then in here, you can, originally you're in models, right? What you can do is you can go down and select plugins. And when you press plugins, you can find a lot of different tools. So basically plugins are tools for you to do something. Oh yeah, it's here. So brush tool. This one's really good, and I recommend it if you want to make big maps, right? So you just have to click on it and press install. It's called Brush Tool 2.1. You should see it by just scrolling down here. So I'm gonna click it, and I'm gonna press install, right? So it's probably going to install right now. And all right, maybe it's installing, but once you install it, it should help you. Basically, it's a tool for you to place many objects at the same time. So if you want like many trees in your game, you don't have to put the trees one by one. You can make them like appear like all together. All right, it's like pretty slow. I'm not sure if it's actually downloading because sometimes for the mainland version, like the plugins and models are a bit weird. So I'm not sure if it works, but if you go to like the normal Roblox, you can definitely download it, okay? All right, in this case, I'm just to duplicate my tree to make more appear. So I'm going to make a bit more like this, and you can do this in your own game as well. I'm going to make a few more trees to make the map look a bit better. Right? So I'm just gonna select. Okay. All right, now I have a few trees, but it's always the same tree, so I'm going to find some different kind of tree. I put a pine tree, maybe I can put like let's see. Is there other kind of trees? I actually really like this tall forest tree. So let me see if I can put this one in. Again, it's gonna take some time. Okay. Just press it. Let's see if it goes in the game. Okay, so now it's here. I'm going to click to insert. And it's actually a pretty big tree. So I'm gonna put it like behind the different tycoons. Okay, so first thing for your tycoon, you can create some trees like me. And other than trees, you can also build like some rocks, maybe. Right? So we can have like this. You can have like a rock trail, but I would want like this giant sea rock, maybe. I'm just gonna drag it in. Okay, I'd have to click it. I think only clicking works. Or you can see the rock here, and you can also drag it to move it. But right now it's a bit too big, so I'm going to use a scale tool in the home button to make it smaller. So now you see how I'm like, now you can see this rock, right? When I drag the green button, it becomes really large, really tall and short, right? But what if I want the rock to move smaller in all parts? So instead of just having it to be bigger and smaller on the like the y-axis, which is the top and down, I wanted to move down to like all together. So all I have to do is press shift and press one of the buttons at the same time. So if you press shift and you press the button, then you can make it smaller together, right? Like make it together, make it smaller in all the different axes. So that works for the rock. And then right now you can only rotate the rock in 90 degrees. So here you can see that every time I drag, it only goes 90. You can change this in model. So if you go to model, and in here you can see how the rotate is at 90. You just have to change this value to, let's say, 1. So you change it to 1. Now it's like smooth, right? So now you can rotate it like very by very small margins. And I'm going to just duplicate the rock. This one I'm going to make it a bit bigger. And I'm going to rotate it, right? So we need one more rock here. And then rotate. And then make it a bit bigger. Okay. I think that looks pretty cool. Let's try adding maybe some grass in here as well. So I'm just gonna type grass. Okay, so there's some grass here as well. Let's just try clicking on it. Okay. All right. If you don't like this type of grass, you can always use the grass in like the terrain. So remember how we talked about the terrain? You just have to go to the terrain editor here. So remember how we talked about the terrain in lesson 4 or 3? You just have to open the editor. It's like a mountain with a pen, like a pencil, right? If you click on it, you can see the terrain editor on the left. And then if you click edit, you can create different terrain. And right now I want to create some terrain. So I'll go to edit and I can like select. So I'm going to press select and I'll just click somewhere and yeah, now it shows here. So if I want to make grass, I can make it a bit shorter, so like very close to the base plate. I'll try to scale it like a bit shorter here and more here, right? So this box is going to be where your new terrain is going to be in. So you want it to cover every part, right? So I'm going to move the X and Y axis to cover here. And now I have it selected. First I go to select and I choose different position and size. Then I can press fill. After pressing fill, you can fill this box that you just created with a material you want. So let's say I want grass, right? And right now it says fill. So I'm going to press apply. And now you can see that this whole thing is now going to be grass, right? So that makes the game a lot more, I would say it makes it much cooler, right? But right now, I think I'll make the selection a bit bigger because now you only have this small part with grass. So I'm going to make it much bigger like this. So it covers the whole part, right? Covers the whole base plate like this. And then I'm going to press apply. And now the whole map basically is covered in grass. So now you see how like maybe some parts in a Tycoon is also grass. If you don't really like that, you can just move the Tycoon up a bit. So you can click on the Tycoon, press move in home, and then you can move it a bit like on top, right? So maybe like this. So now the things actually show. There's still a bit of grass, but I think it's fine. And you can move it for this one as well. So just move it up a bit. Like this. Right? Okay. And finally, after making like the trees, rocks, the grass, we can do some like skybox. So right now you can see the sky is very boring, right? It's just one color. You can find skybox in the toolbox as well. So go to the toolbox and go to models and to search. Basically, you just have to search skybox. And once you search Skybox, you can find many different things here. You can see like a sunless blue skybox, sunset skybox, and I kind of want a sunset like feel, so I'm going to press the sunset skybox, and it should create the sky in here. I'm going to drag it maybe. Maybe it's loading, not sure. Okay, all right. So that's okay. So now I create a different sky like this, and it looks a lot like a sunset, right? So now you see my game is looking much cooler, right? I'm also going to change the lighting. So if you just press lighting, I'm going to make the clock time. So right now, remember the clock time is like what time is in your game. So right now, if it's 14.5, that's around 2 p.m., right? So like in the afternoon. I want it to be sunset time. So I'll do like 5:30. So if you know 5:30 is like around 17, maybe 17.5, that would be a good sunset time. So now you can see it's okay, maybe that's a bit too, the sun is too low. So I'm going to do like maybe 14. No, actually, maybe like 16, around 4. And it's around the sunset time, right? You can also change other things like shadow softness. I'm going to make it a bit softer. You can change the brightness to maybe lower, but I'm going to leave it at 2. Okay. So that's basically it. And for decorate, that's all you have to do. Basically add some trees like I did, add some rocks, skybox lighting, basically things we talked about last time, right? And now I just want to go over scripting a bit. You can find the scripts for the Tycoon game inside the model. So right now you can see it's pretty messy, right? And if you don't know which one's the Tycoon game, you just have to click on it. So for this one, I'll just click on the Tycoon and it says model, but that's not really clear to me. Remember, you can change things in your game. So actually, I'll just press it one more time and I can actually change the name. So I'll change the name from model to Tycoon to Naruto Tycoon. So that's what I'm going to name it, to Naruto Tycoon. Right? And now I know which one's a Tycoon. And you can open the Tycoon Kit and you can see many scripts in here. I'm going to do like the setting script so you can see many like different options in here. You can try changing them if you want to, like currency name instead of cash. Maybe it can be like, I don't know, like money, or if you want to do like coins, that's fine as well. And there's also like KOs, what will you call the kills, different things like this. And steal settings. Maybe you want to, you can steal someone else's coins, right? So that's steal settings. You can change it to false if you want. So now basically stealing is like if you have 2 base and they are all producing money, right? And if stealing is at true, so yes, there is stealing, then you can go to another player's base and take their money, right? That's stealing. But if you don't want that to happen, just set it to false. And the players can't go to someone else's base and take their money. They have to make their own money. So that's basically it. And this is a percent. So if you steal someone's money, you can't steal all of it. You can only take like 25% of it. And there's also player protection. So there are some time where the player cannot be stolen from, and you can also change that as well. All right, so for scripting, if you don't really want to script it yourself, you can always find scripts online. And when you find scripts online, if you want to change something, then you have to know what that player wrote about, right? And there's some ways you can find hints inside the scripts. So first you can look at the names. For example, steal settings. That tells you about like something like stealing, right? And maybe like kill's name. It tells you like what the name of the kill is, right? So many signs you can think about. Also currency name, fade out time. Fade out time is about like the buttons and stuff. So it's not really important. You can also look at annotations. So remember in Roblox, if the text is like green, then that means that this is something the person who wrote the script or developer wrote next to the code. So it's not going to be inside the script. It's actually just like a note to yourself or for others. So you can look at these, like the sound that plays when the player buys a button he can afford. So it's like these different sounds. You can also change them. Oh yeah, for sounds, I think I'll teach you guys about it next time. But basically, it's like ID. You can find your own ID inside the toolbox as well. And you can also look at the numbers. Like for example, if it's 60, if you don't really know what it is, you can like try to guess. Like what's a logical unit for 60? I would say it's like seconds, right? So it also says here that's time in seconds, but if it doesn't say, you can kind of guess that it's 60 seconds because 60 minutes will be too long, right? So it can only be seconds. All right, that's for scripting. And finally for this is the same slide as like last lesson. After you finished your resources, which is a tycoon and a different trees and different houses, and you also finished the different scripts by changing some settings or by writing your own script, then you can do some testing. So for testing, you just have to press play and kind of like test the game out to see if there's any bugs and stuff. So that's for testing. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. Do you guys have any more questions? And yeah, like because we're making our own projects now, if you have something you want to learn about, you can also tell me and I'll try to include it in the next lesson, okay? So if right now, maybe type something you want to learn about, or you can, yeah, if you want some help creating games, you can also type, or you can just tell me, it's fine. So anyone got any ideas what they want to learn? We're only going to have maybe like 10 lessons, so we're gonna have like 2 more. So the final lesson, I want you guys to enjoy like some games or to share your own game, your own ideas, and then maybe I'll create my own game as well. And then you can play each other's games by sending your game in the chat. So I think it'll be pretty fun. And for class 9, I'll try to help you guys a bit. So if you have any bugs that you can also like just maybe tell me and I can help you solve the problem. All right, so Connor wrote how to create gun games. Okay, that's a pretty good question. I can teach you guys about that next lesson, okay? So for guns, you basically just have to search like gun in the toolbox and give the gun to each player, and then have like maybe a leaderboard to see how many players you killed. That will be a pretty simple gun game. Okay. Okay, I'll teach you guys about that next lesson, I guess, if you guys want to learn about it. Okay. All right, so I think that's pretty much it for today. I'll talk a bit more about the homework. So your homework is to first finish resources. Like that includes making the game map and also finishing the different models for your game. And for the challenge, you guys can start working on your scripting part. I don't expect you to know how to script because again, this is not a scripting course, but you can always use templates from our previous lessons. For example, we did the zombie spawner, remember? We also did the castle, the obby, and obviously we also have the tycoon from today. We also have the capture the flag, remember? That one you can find in the Roblox default templates. So if you just go to, so I'm gonna close this for now. I'm not gonna save it. You go to templates for now. You can see like many different themes, right? So there's the capture the flag, there's modern city, racing, combat. Oh yeah, so Colin, you said you want to make a gun game, right? I think for a very simple one, you can just click here. We talked about this like a long time ago with the zombie game. But if you click here, I'm pretty sure there can be some guns and swords you can use for your game, right? So there are many ways you can make a game without scripting, and they're all pretty fun, okay? So yeah, Colin, to answer your question, to make a simple one, you can just click here and there should be some guns. Yeah, okay. All right, so yeah, that's it. If you don't have any more questions, our lesson has ended, and I'll see you guys next week, okay? Bye, guys. All right, bye.